Hello, everybody. We are live with the Dan Potter. Dan, thank you for hopping on tonight.
You're welcome, Sharon. It is a pleasure to talk to you. This is the first time that I realize my first name isn't really Dan, it's the. So I appreciate that in
It is
caps,
the, you
nonetheless,
are the Dan Potter. Put a little
because
T
no one
initial
else
next to
will
your name.
claim it.
I like to start every interview off with a question from the previous guest, and Maddie Cleespies and Jilly Martin gave me a special question just for you. They were saying, back in the day, you marched in band and you were a drum major, and they want to know what drum major job you had back in the day that would just really shock people these days.
Yeah, I don't know people, but there were no Dr. Beats. There was no Long Ranger or Megavox. But they still needed something loud to set a tempo, and generally, so I would clap until my hands bloody. You could use drumsticks, I mean, wood block, but most of the time we were just clapping, um,
Man.
and field conducting. Like I think the drum majors to 6 foot high podiums would be really surprised to see DCI drum majors of the past standing in the middle of the field conducting at the point of a formation that's rotating. So yeah,
Yeah.
that very different. And when I
Yeah.
teach drum majors, I like to show them kind of a historical progression
Mhm.
of drum majoring 30 years ago and where it is today. And kind of the
How
yeah. Go ahead.
How long did it take for that field conductor to come back off the field? Like, when did that happen?
That actually I think happened probably in the 80s. Once out of the tick system, where you would get a tenth of a point deducted for every mistake that you made and
Mhm.
got system, then everything freed up. And I think the drum tempo for a spread out formation, 50-yard line on a tall scaffolding or podium or whatever, I think that much more important than the kind of, I don't know, drum majors in era were more hood ornaments than conductors,
Okay.
right? They were the frilly thing that X maybe. Yeah, we conducted.
Mhm.
Yeah, we started things and stopped things and brought horns up and down and all of that stuff. Fine, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't compare what I did with a Phantom Regiment conductor of today, with what Blue Coats or Blue Devils drum majors do. Is
So
it's
it
much
sounds
more
like you
involved.
were there to look good, Dan. That's what it sounds like. For the
Well, yeah, well, they tried, but I fit the uniform. Let's put it that cape. I wore the cape well, so
That's great. So how did you get into broadcast journalism and announcing at band contests, or vice versa? What came first?
the broadcast journalism came first. I mean, I had marched in drum corps in. I'm going to date myself. Early '80s. I started my broadcast career in 1983 at a radio station in Davenport, Iowa. Worked a few years there. Worked about 4 years in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then started a 20-year career at a station in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Wow.
Stayed there, loved, figured probably that I'd spend the rest of my life in Texas there. And then, my career changed and I ended up going to Tulsa. I did.
Yeah.
I'm still in Tulsa. I did a radio show here for about 13 years, a morning show, and left that last fall and really
Hmm.
have concentrated on my pageantry stuff since DCI,
That's great.
uh, and now Zephyrus. So
Right. And I know we're going to talk more about Zephyrus. I can't wait to hear about that. And I don't know how you had a full-time job and did all the band stuff, because that's just so much.
I'll
I'm
tell you
getting ahead.
how.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, tell me.
It's like I used every day of PTO for my entire adult life. That's how,
Hmm.
I and it's didn't get many family vacations. You know, my wife calls it my mistress, the activity, and
Yeah.
she's very patient with me and that.
Does she like to travel with you to the
But
contests, or does she say, "Oh,
she,
that's your work"? Yeah.
no, she loves it. She absolutely loves it. Loves the people involved, and goes as often as she can.
That's great. And I'm going to ask you more about that in a little bit. But one thing I know, you've been in the industry for a minute and you've seen a lot of trends over the years. I'm just kind of wondering, what are some of the things that you've seen that have been really impactful changes in marching arts that kind of just reshaped like maybe the next decade or the next several years? Like, what would you say those milestones are?
I had a feeling you'd ask me that, so I kind of made a few notes about that because, yeah, I told somebody the other day, it being 63, a lot of things that suck about it, but there are some great things about it too. And one of them, my perspective, I have gotten to see firsthand a lot of that evolution. Looking back
Mm-hmm.
on it, it's pretty astonishing. I think I was showing somebody who had never seen it before, Star of Indiana's Cross to Cross, and the Roman images show of 1991 in the Dallas, and and I got to say I was there. I was there that night. So I've seen a lot of these changes happen for better or for worse, and
Mm-hmm.
I love the action of this activity. You want to hear my list?
Yes, I do.
I think the first big change that I witnessed as a marching member back in the late '70s and early '80s was the utilization for the first time of curvilinears in drill formations and asymmetrical drill. So all of a sudden they
Mm-hmm.
decided not everything had to be a straight line and balanced across the field. And
Yeah.
I'm a visual person. I watch drill
Mm-hmm.
more than I even listen to the music. Curvilinear drill, asymmetrical drill coming in the late '70s, the end of the tick system at about that same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
you've got to really jump all the way to the late '90s when we switched from G bugles to B flat brass trumpets and the like.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
sometime right around there, sound odd when I say it, but it's true. Somewhere in that time frame between mid '80s to the late '90s, high school band directors went from being the enemies of drum corps to being the friends of drum corps, and in many cases, the staff and designers in drum corps. It's just a matter of maybe a lot of drum corps people becoming music and also changing
Mm-hmm.
to regular concert instruments like B flat horns. Into the
Yeah.
bugles was always awful. And that a lot of serious band directors and serious music perform musicians
Mm-hmm.
cringe listening to and that. So sometime
Yeah. Yeah.
right around that same era, band director, drum corps staffs meshed, and I think that was really
Mm-hmm.
important to the evolution of the activity.
Yeah.
Amplification
Because you have
and
to have that just to
electronics.
continue it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I think there's a little lag. Sorry, but go on with the amplification and electronics.
Obviously, that was a huge change, and have there been hits and misses? Of course, but I think in general, being able to hear the parts that the arrangers wrote, the composers wrote, is important
Mm-hmm.
and against amplification. I'm not a fan of, say, miking the best player in each section and then mixing that as if that's the ensemble and overpowering the rest of the horn line or the rest of the winds
Yeah.
with those few individuals. That's cheating. But using it as sound reinforcement for a
Right.
soloist, for a small ensemble,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for balance across the field, achieve certain
Right.
effects like bluecoats have with speakers all over the field.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I'm all for it.
It's really neat. Well, and you
Yeah.
really need it when you have those woodwind players and, like you say, the small ensembles, and when when you have those small groups that get to come to these contests where it's in a really big stadium, most of the bands are really, really big, really, really loud. What is kind of your mantra with these small bands that get to come to these contests maybe for the first time? Like, what do you think is the experience that they're gaining out of that they wouldn't had they not come? Like, are there benefits for these little bands coming to these contests?
Yeah. I hear a lot of band directors say, we're just not ready to go to a BOA contest yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them that's exactly you should go, because your band and you and the rest of your staff, you have a staff, sometimes just the band director,
Mm-hmm.
director and their spouse, will grow so much from the experience and just from osmosis by bands and kind of
Yeah.
getting out of their shell. So
Yeah.
if a band's never been before and kind of has that attitude of we're not ready for it or we're too small or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably will also tell them about Jackson Academy, Pearl High School, Archbishop Alter, Boone County,
Mm-hmm.
Bourbon County, all of these great small bands that know how to stage themselves, know how to use amplification, know how to, teach kids to 2 or 3 instruments in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Give them an example of you don't have to be big to be mighty.
Right.
Yeah.
I
a story about a very. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'm trying to time it when you're in a pause, but I think we're lagging. No, I never really got to see small bands until I moved to Arkansas, because I was used to going to these big DFW contests, and it just blew my mind. Some of these groups have 20 kids or 25 kids, and some of them are so good, and you get to know them, and they're like, this kid's playing 4 different instruments. He can play whatever he wants because he gets to move around a lot, and it's so neat because you wouldn't have that opportunity, if you're marching with 200 people. Like, you're going to play what you're playing unless maybe you have a solo with your, instrument you specialize in. So
I think this is something that WGI Wins is proving, that a lot of power and a lot of entertainment in a small ensemble if you stage them right and if you write for them correctly.
Right. I'm curious, speaking about staging and writing things, like, what's the craziest thing you've seen up from the sound box when you've been at a contest? Like, I want to know craziest stuff.
Okay, let's start with the sound box, because DCI historically have been different.
Okay.
BOA always up in the press in a booth, just like you said. DCI, up until very recently, the announcer was always on the front sideline, which is a completely different perspective, as you know. From that perspective, now that's changed. I announce more and more DCI shows from up top now, because more often than not, the front sideline's really crowded, and I end up sitting in front of a speaker from one of the corps. And so I am doing more DCI shows. But when I was doing a lot of shows from field level, a lot of calls, a lot of the one that pops to mind is this was in the 90s. It wasn't a big show. It wasn't finals, but I saw a Phantom Regiment mellophone player fall right in front of me and break her arm.
Oh, no.
And finish the show with a broken arm.
Wow. Wow.
So that was crazy. I've also saw a judge get creamed with a rifle. Was it a rifle or was it a flag pike? I'm not sure. Either way, the result was the same. Yeah. Blood flying everywhere. And so, yeah, I've seen lots of that kind of stuff. Now, as far as wildest thing I've seen up top in terms of a show, that kind of the intent of your question? Okay.
Well, no, I wanted to know both. So yeah, what show wise has made you like just really surprised too?
God, Flower Mound last year. The whole Picasso, what was it? Multifaceted or multifaceted, or what? The first time I saw that show, it was before San Antonio. I cannot remember where I saw it first. It was Bedford. But the first time I saw that show and saw them turn around with the portions of the face in the back of the field and saw that all come together, I called a friend of mine and I said, Flower Mound's done it again. They just Eagle right now. They've done it again. Turned out that wasn't the case, but
they were way up there.
They were way up there. On the box.
Maybe wild stuff in the box that's happened during a contest, and you're just having to keep going with announcing. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you one of those. Massillon, Ohio. Massillon is a football power outside Canton, where the NFL Hall of Fame is. And there used to be a BOA show there every year. It's an older stadium, or at least it was at the time, an older stadium with a rickety press box. And as it turned out, a not very reliable sound system, which cut out on me, as I recall. It was nighttime, so it had to be finals. Cut out on me during finals as I was about to announce a band. And it's time. You can't. It's BOA shows on the clock. Yes. So I threw open the window and yelled out the window, joining us from. You do what you got to do.
That's crazy. No, yeah, you do. You have to keep it on time. I just got tickled pink when we just went to Belize to a band contest in Belize, and they had the Belizean police running it, and it was on time, and they had a red flag, and it was like very military. It was really interesting.
I mean, you have a Texas background. UIL had flags and everything. It's very much the same at area and region.
Now, talking work, how much time do you have to put into preparing for, announcing at a contest? What type of stuff are you doing leading up to that to just have it all lined up so it goes nice and smooth?
DCI and BOA are very, very different in that, like I said, BOA runs very much to the second on a clock. Drum Corps International during most of the season, especially little contests, may have more minutes in between cores. It's a little bit looser. So, I'm sorry. Ask me.
I imagine you've got to learn.
Your question again?
Yeah. Well, I imagine you need to learn how to pronounce names and things like that. But what other kind of prep do you have to?
And not a whole. Let's be honest. Not a whole lot. Not as much as I used to. That is the work ethic that you learn in broadcasting, is that you prep for 2 hours for every hour you're going to be on the air. And I used to treat show announcing very much the same way. But I've been doing it now for 40 years. So it's, the formatics, the unusual situations that can arise, all of that kind of stuff I'm used to.
Yeah.
Major names, that is something I constantly pay attention to. I was called when I was a major. I was probably announced more as Don Porter than Dan Potter. And it's such a little thing, you would think, right?
Yeah.
So
it matters.
Myself, Chuck Henson, Brant Crocker, Brad Bell, all of the people kind of in our answer clan, we have it as our mission we take very seriously names properly.
Yeah.
And, for a middle-aged white guy like me, I'm sorry, for a white guy like I have to ask guidance a lot. And so what will happen at a BOA show is, while one band is performing, I'm looking ahead to the I'm checking not only the drum major, but the show name, if they list their music, what that is, the composer's name, making sure I've got. If I wonder about a drum major's name, I'll get on the radio to the field operations person. Hey, you have her pronounce her last name, and they'll walk over and put the walkie-talkie in front of Sarah, and Sarah will say her name so that I can hear
perfect.
it. That's how we do that.
What other kind of challenges do y'all have to juggle up in the box other than, just announcing, like, and maybe AV issues, but what other stuff do people not realize y'all are doing?
BOA is the announcer and the field operations person. Those two people are determining the time of the contest. So,
okay,
my announcement for a BOA show will start 45 seconds before their clock. If there's a problem on the field, if one band takes too long getting off, the other one didn't get set up on time, we will push for a minute. So that requires a lot of coordination between me and the field, and then recalibration of what happened and things like that. Okay. And that happens especially during big, super regionals and toward the end of the season as shows get longer. Yeah, that happens quite frequently.
Yeah, I always figured there would be a separate timekeeper or somebody up there, so that's surprising to me that you have to juggle both. I would be mentally exhausted at the end of the day having to do all that.
Yeah, it's not really. We're not really keeping time. We're just paying attention to the clock. So yeah, okay. So this performance is now, instead of starting straight up at 1:00, is going to start at 1:01. So my announcement, instead of happening at 59:15, is going to happen at 15 seconds past.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
It's not.
And are you doing this on pen and paper or computer? What do you prefer when you're doing that?
I make there's no calculator for time calculations. So
how many contests are you announcing at every year? Like, and I know this year you're doing a lot more with the career shift and everything. So, like, how many contests are you doing this year? Or is it planned out all the way yet?
I could pull the calendar out. I will do Broken Arrow, Denton, Houston, San Antonio. Sorry, I'm going to have to count them, I guess. McKinney, Bedford, Atlanta, Nashville, Allentown 2 nights, and then finals. So that's 13 contests 13. I get for DCI. Yeah. And then every weekend from the last weekend of September through until Grand Nationals for BOA.
Good, great. Every weekend?
So,
that makes me tired. How many miles do you ever clock, like, how many miles you get every year? I'm sure, like, what'd you get last year? Do you have any idea?
I'm Platinum Pro on American.
Nice.
And then, like, for DCI, so Tulsa, Houston, over to Dallas, Fort Worth, just again, 1,800 miles just driving.
Yeah.
But
driving through Dallas takes 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I don't know. I enjoy the travel. Drum Corps has allowed me to see a corner of this country.
Yeah. I mean, going back to Tulsa, you're in Tulsa, and this year you're working with Zephyrus. So I want to know, how did that come about?
Well, I have been on Zephyrus's board of directors since they were founded in 2017.
Okay.
And I came aboard because one of the founders is Aaron Morton, who was a member of Seattle Cascades. And, oh, God, back around 2000 Cascades, I was doing a podcast for Drum Corps International called Field Pass. And one year I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could get a member to record interviews with us traveling between shows? An appeal for it, and Aaron ended up being my correspondent. And so I got to know him, and lo and behold, all these years later, our paths crossed, and he's starting a drum corps here, along with Matt, my next door neighbor. Anyway, that's a different side story. But we started out as, so we had we just kind of invited local kids to come by and sharpen their marching and music skills. And then
Mm-hmm.
we evolved into a sound sport unit. And then last
Yep.
year was our first year as an open class affiliate corps. And this year is our first year as a full voting member of DCI's open class. And
That's so neat.
after the career change last fall, I had some time and we had
Yeah.
some leadership changes at Zephyrus, and I got asked to be the program manager of the drum corps. And I said,
Okay.
sure, we'll do this. And it is really, really gratifying. And it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't, I'm so excited about this summer. I'm just so stoked.
No, I bet you're just tickled pink. I got to meet Aaron when we were at Broken Arrow last year, and talked to him a little bit about Zephyrus, and he said it looked like this year the season might be a little bit longer, maybe travel a little bit more this year. But um, as the core director, like, what does that look like? What are your responsibilities for that?
I mean, right now, stepping into the role the way that I did just about a month ago, we have an artistic director in Aaron. Oscar Ban is our staff coordinator and ensemble coordinator. And who I've known since Union High School here in Tulsa, is now a band director at Union. And she's joined us as tour director. Them are running the day-to-day operations of the I'm here to settle issues if need be and to provide guidance. And like right now, my biggest project is getting our 55-foot equipment truck that we imported from Madison Scouts years ago. It's sandblasted and repainted and ready to go on the road this year. So believe me, that was not in my wheelhouse before this job came along a few weeks ago. So
you get to do all sorts of fun chores when you have a band that you're taking care of. So you never know what you're going to do.
Sure. Truer words have never been spoken.
So you talked about the core growing, kind of what's the vision for this year, and what's the schedule going to look like this year that was maybe a little bit different from last year?
Yeah, last year our season culminated at the DCI Southwestern Championships. This year we're going to go. It's on our way home anyway. The next show's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so we're going to hit both of those this year. We will do the Bedford, Texas show on Sunday night and Kinney on Monday. And that's where our season will end. So we have a very measured philosophy at Zephyrus, and we are not going to expand radically year to year. In fact, we like to see how a tour model works one year, perfect it a second year, and then maybe add the next year a couple of stops on, or expand in another way. Keep that for a second year, perfect that. Going incrementally every 2 years is kind of our business model right now.
No, that's a really good idea, because then, like you say, you can get a good system down and figure out what you're going to do the next year. I think I'm curious what you're most excited about this year with, any changes that you've made. What are you looking forward to the most with that group?
Well, because of the stewardship that we've had since 2017, and the way things are looking for us, 2 weeks ago, the board of directors made the decision to drop our tuition by $900. So
wow.
It's actually going to end up less expensive than last year for 2 more stops on the tour, a longer tour.
Yeah.
And experiences like public performances that we're building in this year. So I think I want to share, and maybe I shouldn't, but this our internal goal for Zephyrus. We would like to be a world-class corps one day with $1,000 tuition, flat $1,000. I know that seems crazy.
That sounds like an amazing trend, and I would love if you started that trend.
You know, I told Aaron, I said, wouldn't it be cool if even before world class, wouldn't it be cool if the year we decide to go to Indianapolis or wherever open class in Dayton, but the year we decide to go to open class finals and finish our season there, if that could be our first year of $1,000 tuition, what a statement that'd be.
Wow, it would, and it would show if you can make it happen, and other people can make it happen. So,
yeah, exactly. It's situational right now, but the thought is this: sure. Tulsa, Oklahoma exists in this amazing band programs. Broken Arrow,
yes.
Owasso, Jinx, Bixby. Who am I leaving out? Union, and so many others. We're not that far, and great programs there. Mm-hmm. A lot of students.
2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of students are getting great marching music performance opportunities from their high school bands. Mm-hmm. More power to them. If they want to join Zephyrus, we want them.
Do you have any openings at Zephyrus right now?
We do. We've
got
openings in all sections. There are a whole lot of high schools, many more high schools, that don't have music programs that are that excellent. There are a lot of rural schools, of inner city schools. Students do not get the kind of opportunity that a BOA performance affords, the kids in Broken Arrow, for instance. So,
right.
In a lot of ways, that's who Zephyrus exists for, is for that performer who he hasn't been experienced and have that that performance opportunity. We can provide that, and we can do it for a lot less than a lot of the other summer.
Right. And so, I hear so many great things about these open class groups, and we talk about the lower tuition and more opportunities, but what are some other perks that students should consider if they're wanting to march, and maybe why to look at an open class corps first?
It depends on what your motivation is.
Yeah.
No, if your is to march world class or to win a ring one day, open class corps are a great place to start. If your goal is, even if, how do I want to say this? If that is your goal, you may end up in an open class corps and go, well, this is all I need right here. This is great.
Yeah.
If you have not seen DCI Championship, you're denying, and you're a drum corps fan or a marching band fan, you're denying yourself an amazing experience, because the open class corps are good. So, you may go for one reason to an open class corps, think you're get some experience and move on, and find out, I don't want to. This is my family here. So, but if we've had plenty of members go on to Crossman or Spirit of Atlanta or another corps and continue on their marching career, and that's totally fine. We're a great place to start, and if not us, I can recommend several other great places to start.
I know you can. Well, I love to hear that y'all have positions open in every section, so that's great. But if somebody is interested in auditioning, what do they need to do?
Come May 17th is our next one. Just go to ztulsa.com or zephyrusarts.org. Either one will work, but ztulsa is probably easier to remember, ztulsa.com. There'll be a registration right there on the landing page for you to go to register for our next camp. You can also send in a video audition as well. So
awesome.
Again, at openings.
Okay. Are you able to give us any little sneak peeks on what the show's going to be? Are you allowed to tell us?
I found out just myself on Sunday, and everybody see when we found out, but it's going to be spectacular.
Looking forward to it. I'm curious, start to wrap up. I've got a couple more questions for you, but what do you do for fun
Sure.
when you're not at band or DCI events, assuming you have any time to do anything?
We're with our grandkids. That is the most fun of all. But
Mm-hmm.
my hobby is cooking. Um, I've hosted those in Dallas, Fort Worth, and in Tulsa. Cook. That's my happy place. I'll put on some jazz and see what's in the refrigerator and go.
Are you gonna, maybe get a little side hustle in the food truck with Zephyrus, and go in there and help?
My wife was volunteer coordinator last year, and my
Uh-huh.
good friend Caleb Hunt still is our food service manager. That
Oh no,
no, but
no,
let me deal with the equipment truck or something, because
yeah.
feeding 4 meals a day to 50 people, that's real work.
I can only imagine. We owned the concessions at a 6A school in Dallas Fort Worth. My husband was in charge of that, and so just Friday nights was exhausting. So I can only imagine doing
Well,
that a
okay,
few times a day.
here's one thing. Hopefully next year we'll be. We don't have one of those. So what it looks like for us is a bunch of volunteers with roasting pans, those
Uh
big
huh.
like tabletop roasters. Got 3 or 4 of those.
Uh huh.
It's amazing what you can do. But we carry our kitchen off of a truck, set it up, tear it down, put it back.
Hmm.
The sooner we get a food truck, the better.
Okay, so if anybody's got hookups with a free food truck out there, y'all let Dan know.
Yes, please.
Dan, I have one last question for you, and I did not give this to you ahead of time, but someone sent it to me, and I said I gotta ask him that.
Okay.
What is a missile-like object?
I don't know. I guess a bottle rocket. I don't know what that
Oh
announcement
no.
means. Do you know what they're referencing, right?
Lucas
I
Oil Stadium. Yeah,
yeah,
when
the
you're walking up,
outdoor.
there's the recording. Don't bring a
Yes.
yeah missile. Yeah.
This is for Drum Corps International during the summer, which, by the way, when I'm walking from the hotel and I'm like to Stadium and I can hear my own voice coming down the street, it's very weird. It's just strange. But yeah, no vuvuzelas and no missile-like objects. I know what a vuvuzela is. It's a big plastic horn, but I don't know what they're talking about with missile-like objects.
And I can never say that word vuvuzela, but when I went to Belize, they had a lot of those at the band contest, and I was
Did
just
they
like, oh,
really?
okay. They did.
Ah,
They did.
see, that
They
they should
played
have had
them
me as the
during the
announcer. They
contest.
would not have had that problem.
Oh well. Yeah, I was laughing about that one. I was like, I gotta ask him that one. I don't think we have any other questions, but I just really appreciate you hopping on tonight and chatting,
No,
and I'm looking forward to bumping into you this season. And um,
it's a pleasure to meet you. I again, come join us in Zephyrus. We're gonna have a great summer, and um, I'd like to be part of the fun you this summer, Sharon.
we'll do, we'll do. All right, Dan, you have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.